Casey Badger is the referee. Summer Friday night on Fox League, and Rugby League is back in all its glory. And the Saifiti brothers are in the starting side tonight, and Jacob taking the first hit up, and Daniel in the side as well tonight. A couple of State of Origin front rowers, turnover, but able to regather possession. And the Knights with their first use of the ball. So just 6 wins last year. Their home record was poor, their defence was poor. There's so many areas they need to address to start the year. And now for Kurt Mann, he's playing middle forward tonight for Newcastle. Kurt in his 5th year at the club. And nice touch for Bailey Hodgson. And you heard Adam O'Brien in the pre-game coverage here on Fox League talk about the injuries he's overcome, and he's excited about what he offers. Hastings with his first kick of the match. This will bring Atkinson into the play. The Italian international is with the ball for Cronulla. It's been a bit of an interesting summer for fullbacks for Cronulla. OK Dykes, our best wishes to him. Knee reconstruction pre-season. Dreadful luck for the young fella. And Lockie Miller leaving the club off to Newcastle.
Now, we just saw in that first set from the Newcastle Knights just how important that the Saifiti's brothers will be for them this year. Both State of Origin front rowers, they need to have their best years. Rudolph, they look as good as they ever have too, physically.
Yep, I agree with you. Fit and strong. Last tackle here for Cronulla. Rudolph is down after that previous carry. He's feeling his right shoulder. Ball fielded by Heimel Hunt. And, Hodgson falls into a tackle that maybe clipped him a little there. This young man in his 3rd year with the Knights, will be hoping that if he is fully fit, maybe he could scale the heights of Dominic Young. What a superstar he has become over the last 12 months. It's time with Greg Marzu. One of the more unusual trades in the off-season. Randall to the Titans, a hooker, and they get Greg Marzu, the barnstorming winger, in exchange. Now short side, and Brayley is captain tonight for the Knights. He'd be disappointed brother Blake is not turning out for Cronulla. Last play with Hastings, and kept going a little wider, albeit a little flat-footed, the Knights. And Jack Johns on the end of that, kept going for Saifiti, but that is where the changeover will take place. Let's go down to the sideline. Well, he's in the shade, but that belies the warm conditions a little. James Hooper, sideline duties tonight for Fox League.
G'day, Vossi and Brandy. Evening, everybody. Picture-perfect conditions here at Industry Group Stadium, the old Graham Park at Gosford, as it used to be known. Look, significantly, there is a breeze. Vossi, it favours the Newcastle Knights at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what Jackson Hastings can do with that. And how exciting is this? The next generation of stars on show, and some famous surnames, some very good rugby league pedigree involved in both teams tonight.
Yeah, good point, James. Closest to camera on our side, on the wing for Cronulla, is the son of Brett Rodwell, and he's wearing the headgear. Thomas Rodwell, wait till you see him in action. You'd swear it's his dad out there in the back line for Cronulla. Graham with a bit of skill there, the chip over the top, lost by Hodgson. And Cronulla have a real opportunity now, 25 metres out from the line.
Coming forward, didn't he? But the ball stayed low, made it very difficult for him to pick it up. Sharks get another set.
And they're working Rodwell's way. He's into the play. Rodwell is with it. First touch is a beauty. Well, there you go. Right on cue. And Cronulla make the most of a turnover. And look who scores the try. A famous name. Old Illawarra Steelers fans are cheering right now, I reckon. Thomas Rodwell scores the 4-pointer.
Here's the tough one for Bailey Hodgson. Just stayed low. He had to attack it. The kick from Wade Graham was a clever one, and they shifted it left, and it all had an overlap very quickly. KL Ero, son of Kevin Ero. So Kevin Ero's son has passed it out to Brett Rodwell's son, Thomas Rodwell, to score the try.
And you feel old as a result of all of that.
Stars of the 80s and 90s, but he looks good. Geez, a solid build, isn't he? Thomas Rodwell. And KL Ero, who played one first game last year. Catch, draw, and release the ball out to Rodwell, who slides in between the cover defence and Bailey Hodgson, the fullback for Newcastle, to score the opening try.
Well, that's a lovely touch. He's playing the poker face there, but I'm sure his heart is beating almost out of his chest at that moment. And this is what we get to see in the trials. You've just seen Thomas Rodwell put his name up in lights, so to speak. And it's over to halfback Nephi Puru to take the shot at goal.
A good play from the Sharks too, because they identified that they had an overlap. Sometimes on a turnover, sides can get bogged down, too many hit-ups. Got the ball left very quickly.
On the turnover, Brandy, actually the right winger Samuel Stonestreet did very well to turn defence into attack. He's a good player, and that's a lovely first kick. It's a good start for Cronulla. 6-0 over the Knights. James on the sideline.
Outstanding start for the Sharks. And what about these rugby league bloodlines at the moment, Andrew? We've got Thomas Rodwell, son of Brett. We have Cale Iro, who is son of Kevin, Uncle Tony, of course. Then we go further down the Cronulla team sheet. We get to Samuel Healy. He's a young gun hooker, son of Cronulla great Mitch. You've also got Max Riolo, son of Dave Riolo. Switch over to Newcastle Knights, Jack Johns, son of Matthew. How good.
Yeah, it is indeed the production line of rugby league talent. There'd be some proud mums and dads watching the Fox League coverage tonight. And as I say, we love bringing you the pre-season action. You just never know when these players may bob up during the season, some of these young fellas. Hamlin Welle taking the run there. Saw Braden at the World Cup. His World Cup lasted just 12 minutes, Brandy, when he did his calf in the very first game. So that was disappointing for Braden on the big stage, given where Samoa ended up at the World Cup. So Sharks with it, 25 metres out from their own line, and fed along by Teague Wilton. Two very strong forward packs to start the match. A lot of experience, but obviously that won't go the course of the game. Back with Puru kicking from the 40-metre line. Certainly not a long one. Gamble is going back. There's confusion at the back, and Hodgson onto it.
Wade and Jesse.
And there you go. Jesse Badger onto it. Offside there.
As James Hooper said, the Sharks running into a breeze, and if you don't hit the ball sweetly when you're running into the breeze, it can do that. Almost got a result out of it. The awkward bounce, but Bailey Hodgson cleaned it up, and now the Knights get a chance through the penalty.
I'll tell you what I just picked up there through our on-ground microphones. Well done, Casey Badger. She recognised Jessie Colquhoun. It can't be easy for the officials with so many players involved. I wonder if she has memorised every number and name tonight. She addressed Jessie Colquhoun there, who's very much a rookie, just 4 first-grade games. The Knights, their first chance to attack on the right side, and Papalangi, exciting talent at right centre, held there by Iro. Now for Gamble. Kurt Mann able to slip away from one. One of the most valuable players at this Newcastle club, Kurt Mann. Saifidi with it. That's Jacob. Try scorer on Origin debut last year. Knights just 10 metres away from the line. Hastings right up to the line. Good work by the Knights. And that will make them feel very good right there. Good shape. Players doing their job, and Tyson Gamble has a 4-pointer in Newcastle colours.
Yeah, backing up the line break, and it was Brodie Jones who crashed into the Cronulla defence, twisted his body so he could push the pass out to Tyson Gamble. They go down the short side. Jackson Hastings going to the line. Good run. That's Lachlan Fitzgibbon, is it? Yep. Fitzgibbon on the field. And Fitzgibbon's a noted hole runner, got himself in between both those defenders, and that allowed him to get his arms free and push the ball back to Tyson Gamble. Nice play from the Newcastle side off the back of a penalty, gave them the field position. And Fitzgibbon, who missed a lot of footy last year with injury, comes up with a big play.
Well, it's been a lot of football missed the last couple of years. You know, we highlight players new to clubs, but in the case of Lachlan Fitzgibbon, he only played 10 games in 21, and he only played 9 games last year. So it's almost like welcome back, because he's a starter every day of the week with the Newcastle Knights. And it's a nice involvement from Tyson Gamble to come up with a try, the former Bronco. And over to Jackson Hastings. Only the 10 goals last year with the Tigers. He is, of course, on the return from a broken leg that ended his season early last year. from 11 metres in from touch. On this Friday night on Fox League, right off the upright. So 6-4 is the score, James Hooper's sideline.
Aside from hitting the post, a cracking start from Jackson Hastings to his life in a Newcastle Knights and that famous number 7 jumper. Now, he's not partnered with Kalen Ponga tonight. He will make the shift into the halves this season. We expect to see him next week against the Parramatta Eels at this same stadium, and we're going to speak to Kalen later on in the coverage tonight.
Excellent. And as you spoke there, 6 Knights got up to warm up in front of you. They've gone for a sprint down to the corner, and it is interchange aplenty tonight. James will do his best to identify some of these young blokes when they come on. Their first touches, always big moments. So Knights in possession just inside their 20. Manly and South Sydney is the second game we will bring for you tonight in the pre-season challenge. Adam O'Brien, he had a spring in his step pre-game. You cut it all away, take the jobs away. We're all rugby league fans. We just love having the sport back. Saifidi with it, 5 metres inside the Cronulla half. Beryl there over the top. I like the number 9 for Cronulla. He's been a star in more recent times out of the Queensland Cup. Player of the Year, in fact, a couple of seasons ago. Second year at Cronulla. Last tackle Knights. This time the kick is with Gamble. And they'll kick down that left channel. Atkinson is there. I was about to say a confidence booster, then lost it when he returned to earth. And there's high fives for the Knights. They're in great position now.
Yeah, very disappointed. The young bloke, Daniel Atkinson, takes the ball, heading towards the ground, and whether an arm came in contact with the ball, that's inconsequential, really. Certainly no effort there to strip the ball, and it's come free, putting pressure on the Sharks now.
When he made his debut for Melbourne back in 2021, he was presented with his jersey by Dale Finucane. It's odd how things work. They're now teammates again at Cronulla. Here is Hastings with a little bit of footwork. 9 metres away from the Cronulla line. Real chance for back-to-back tries here for the Knights. Slow play the ball for Brayley. They'll keep it tight with Saifidi. Both the Saifidi boys have tries in Origin now, which is a nice get. Hastings puts it down, and that is quite a let-off for Cronulla. I blame James Hooper for that.
Well, you expect mistakes in trials. Just took his eyes off the ball as the defence was rushing.
Is he a natural 7, Brandy? You are one of the great 7s of your time. Hastings ended up at 13 at the Tigers. Is he 7 to stay for Newcastle?
Yeah, look, I think he was what the Tigers needed last year. They needed a voice. They needed someone to talk. You can't be a general if you don't talk, and they weren't getting that, the Tigers. That's why he made an immediate impact. Now, going forward, depending on what you get out of Kalen Ponga as a half, as a 5'8", you just want him to forget about organising the team. So, yeah, I think he can do the job for Newcastle.
Knights' first game of the NRL season proper we'll have for you exclusive to Fox League Friday, March 3. They travel to Wellington, the New Zealand capital, to take on the Warriors. So a good trip first up. You will see on Fox League, not too far away. Emlyn Welle on that run. And another kick coming from Wade Graham inside the 40 of Cronulla. Hodgson underneath it. He's a long way from Hull. He's a long way from the conditions in Hull too.
No, it was already held. So it's a lost ball, be or scrum.
So Casey Badger all over that one. Bailey having a bit to say.
Well, the Cronulla player came up with the ball after tackling, and it was a ball and all tackle. And it was Nephi Peru who just stole it out of his grip.
We have a captain's challenge from Newcastle. Looking at the challenge, at the decision of a knock-on from them.
Well, I don't think Newcastle have knocked it on.
No, so you're saying strip and knocked on by
Nephi Peru, yes.
Cronulla. So Brandy's
just looking at Nephi Peru.
The challenge. Let's see how he goes first up. What
the
sort of form is
left
Brandy in to start?
Yeah, goes around the ball,
and
he strips it out in a forward direction and loses it towards the opponent's dead ball line.
Tick.
The challenge is successful.
Giddy up. Giddy up. Brady's 1 from 1. Good form bringing into the pre-season on Fox League.
I've been studying tape all summer.
Going over old decisions.
Yes.
What a life we live.
I'll keep an eye on them.
Bubble life. Watching old captain's challenges. But there you have it. I don't think anyone's arguing with that one. Too early in the season to get into a fight anyway, but there you have it. Knights challenge successful. And as a result, they have the scrum feed 30 metres out from their own line, and Bailey Hodgson feels a little better about things. It's been a mixed start for him. Papalungi with the ball looked good in the 2 NRL games that he appeared in last year. And Marzu caught there, and he always wrestles, Greg Marzu. They've worked hard on his defence, I'm told, at Newcastle. They know what he can do with tackle busting, but they're working on his defensive reads. And
I think they picked him up because they needed someone to carry the ball out of their own end, and he is good at that. Greg Marzu, built like a tank. And obviously there's other aspects of his game that they needed to fix up or work on.
so Brayley takes them to Hastings. Again, the setup is good with Johns on the right edge. Just the 3 games in the NRL last year for Jack Johns.
We have a slight flop from you and crowding from you.
There we go. Penalty the way of the Knights. Brayley ready to rock and roll again with Jacob Saifiti. This is sustained pressure on the Cronulla defence at the moment. After they scored the opening try, now Brayley to the right, Gamble, trying to square them up, but plenty of numbers there for Cronulla. Brayley again with Gamble and Hastings. So far the 6, 7 and 9 working fairly well for Newcastle. That's encouraging. Brayley left and Hastings, they'll stretch it, although Hodgson lost the ball. It is very much a mixed bag for the young fullback. And Cronulla back with possession over the 40.
Now, I thought they had an opportunity there, Newcastle, if they got it right. They certainly had the advantage numbers-wise. The pass just not finding its mark. And you're right, he's had a mixed bag so far, Bailey Hodgson. I think he thought the ball was going across the front of him.
On for Teague Wilton, and offloading play in these conditions can work over a defence. Beryl, and that time Jack Williams passing short of the line. Let's hope he has an injury-free season, Jack. He's a good back rower. Ball lost in the tackle there. Put down by Hemlin Welle there, and the Knights are back with it. You're going to have the drop balls, that's expected, but it is very hot to start our coverage on this Friday night as well. Last time, I get the feeling the last time we came to Gosford last year, remember that ball that went over the end of the field and the bloke got out of the car to kick it back? It almost caused a 10-car pile-up. It was quite an eventful afternoon. Yeah, it can happen. One of the more memorable moments of last season. But it is a wonderful ground, as James said. The Knights on halfway. This time with Johns.
Good offload.
Brother Cooper has linked up with Manly for this season. Now Hastings, 41 metres away from the Cronulla line. Again with Johns, not able to poke his nose through there. Puru was there in defence with Wilton. Beryl, or rather Brayley on the back of a quick play the ball. So the Knights and Hastings ball, not much doing there for Kurt Mann. Driven back, wedge-like defence from Cronulla. Hastings and Gamble. Now Hodgson. Well, there it is. We said mixed bag. It is absolute rocks and diamonds for the young Knights fullback. And he shows his evasive skills there to set up the try.
Yeah, despite him making a couple of errors, Bailey Hodgson, and Mossy, you've gone through what he's gone through himself as a player, been at the Knights a couple of years, only played a handful of games in New South Wales Cup, but it's obvious he's a great mover. Very good on his feet. Gets the ball out the back, gets on the inside, breaks that tackle, and then flicks the pass. It might have been forward, but It's been allowed to just flicks it out one-handed. Dylan Lucas, the try scorer.
Well, if there's another player that's had an injury-hampered path, Dylan Lucas getting the try. There are many at Newcastle with a high opinion of Dylan. That, if not for injury, we would have seen him in the NRL previously. Well, there we go. We see him pre-season here on Fox League.
Tries under review, reviewing for a possible obstruction.
This is what we miss all summer. This is what we miss. Let's have a review of an obstruction challenge. You won from one, Brandy. Do you want to call this one early?
Well, let's see it. I was following the ball. I didn't notice any obstruction, but obviously upstairs has. Daniel Saifidi.
Just looking at the run of Lachlan Fitzgibbon and any impact on Wade Graham.
Gamble takes Fitzgibbon to the line, goes out the back.
The ball is caught on the outside. Lachlan Fitzgibbon is in front of the player with the ball and runs into Wade Graham and denies him the chance to defend the play.
So
we have a decision.
You're saying no try.
No
Video
try.
referee says the same. The bunker has spoken. And Newcastle will not have a second try, and Dylan Lucas' name will be erased from the score sheet. So 6-4, the score will remain.
A lot of talk about inside, outside shoulder, but if you run into the player and knock him off his feet, well, that's game's over.
A wobbler there for the sideline, but takes them back to 10 metres away from halfway. And rule of thumb, Brandy, are you more looking at the defence or the attack in the pre-season games? If you are coach of these sides, do you want good defence or good attack?
Well, you've got an attack coach and a defence coach. So if you see the effort in defence, Vossi, I think that's the most important thing. And you want to see some continuity and some rhythm and some timing with the ball.
We will be having a drinks break at close enough to the 20-minute mark of both halves, and that's understandable. As the Sharks, short side with Graham. Nice work, Atkinson. Well, it was of the timid kind. Atkinson's not complaining, but we've got it as a high tackle. That's going to happen as well. Timing and defence. Cronulla penalty. He's been well involved, Daniel Atkinson. So he's only been at the club for a little over a week. So it's a big shift for him. Now the Sharks off the tap, 10 metres away from the line. First try to Rodwell, their left winger. Let's see how the Knights' goal line defence aims up. Beryl, a dummy half, decides to go short. Nice sleight of hand there. Hamlin-Welle with the ball. Beryl. And right, Atkinson for Graham to put the kick through. It's good range. Knights under pressure. Can do no better than produce a line dropout out of that.
Well, that's a couple of short kicks from Wade Graham now. Attacking kicks, almost producing results. The chip over the top saw Bailey Hodgson drop a ball earlier. They scored off the back of it. There's the collision. Well, Daniel Saifidi, or Jacob Saifidi, couldn't have done anything there. The kick cleaned up. It was Dylan Lucas just knocking it dead before a Cronulla player could get his hand onto it.
So, drinks break. They'll take it now. They'll take it a fraction early. And at the 6-4 scoreline, Knights won't mind that. They were about to be defending back-to-back sets. But Wade Graham with his hands all over the Cronulla attack so far. Let's go on ground with James Hooper.
Adam Elliott, welcome, one of the star recruits for the Newcastle Knights. How are you finding life in the Hunter?
Yeah, absolutely loving it. You know, getting to know the boys really well, and just loving living in Newcastle, mate. It's one of the best spots in the world to live at.
How's Kalen Ponga been combining with Jackson Hastings at training? He's obviously going to make the move from fullback to 5'8". How's that looked so far through your eyes?
Yeah, it looks really good. Footy-wise, it's great. Off the field, it's really good too. I think they balance each other out a fair bit. Like, Jacko's very intense, KP's a bit more laid back, but once he crosses the white line, you know, he's as competitive as everyone. So I think they're bringing the best out of each other, and I'm really excited to have them next to each other.
What about this forward pack? What are your thoughts on the pack that's been assembled? You're a new recruit. Jack Hetherington will be a new recruit. David Clemmer's moved on. The Saifidi brothers now leading the way.
Yeah, the SAF boys have led the way in the pre-season, mate. They've had a great off-season. Come back really fit day one, and then we went on a camp pretty much straight away. And straight out of that, you know, they showed that they're here, ready to lead, and both of them are fit as. They've both had a great start to this game. And then my mate Heathrow back with him again, so I'm pumped about that. We get along, you know, like a house on fire, and I can't wait to get out there and play footy with him.
Triple MAD brothers, thanks for joining us as always, Adam. Appreciate your time.
Cheers, Hooves. Thanks, mate.
Yes, Jack Hetherington, one of the recruits, Adam Elliott at the club, the Knights this year. And what about winning over the faithful? Adam Elliott, Newcastle, one of the best places, if not the best place in the world to live. They raised a glass, the Knights fans watching the Fox League coverage. Amen. So well done, Adam. And Cronulla with the ball 28 metres away from the Knights line. First of two matches on Fox League on this Friday night. Manly and Souths to come. Anthony Seibold coached Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. There's Beryl with it, 10 away from the line. Graham close to the ruck there. I think we can call him Warhorse category now, Wade Graham. In front of the Newcastle posts. They're lined up with their hands up for a run at the line. Very close as Hamlin Welle. Last tackle, Cronulla. Beryl changed his mind. Atkinson is the kicker. It's not bad. There's a bat in the air there. It'll be another line dropout. Real pressure. And Lucas it was who forced the ball dead.
Well, Hamlin Welle's shown over the last couple of seasons how dangerous he is close to the line. Big, mobile, hard to stop, but the Knights' defence was up to it. Kick just popped up there. Greg Marju getting his fingers to it.
Tell me Braden's brother Caleb has been training very well too. He won't appear in the games. He's got a suspension, a bit of a technicality as to why he can't play, but he's one to watch out for a little later in the season. Rudolph on the run back for Cronulla. 33 metres away from the line. A bit of ball play being done by Jack Williams. He's been good for Cronulla so far tonight. Sharks 25 minutes. Here he is again, Williams, in that middle forward role. Hamlin Welle now 12 metres away. Adam O'Brien won't mind this test of his team's defence here. Rudolph with it, marching his way. Well, Adam O'Brien won't be pleased with that. The first contact was just not good enough.
I have no try. Can you confirm that he doesn't ground the ball? If he doesn't ground it, we will have a penalty for Bailey offside on the 10 metres.
Well, Bailey Hodgson. So it was Bailey Hodgson and Phoenix Crossland. So Toby Rudolph's picked out a couple of the little blokes. He's crashed right into them and just dragged them towards the try line. Just looking to see whether
possession's maintained by Toby Rudolph.
I think it bounces out. I think he hit the ground that hard that the ball just bounced out of his grip.
So we're talking Hodgson offside. So at worst, a penalty to Cronulla. Some would say
Toby Rudolph loses the ball forward. The on-field call of offside by Newcastle will stand.
Gets involved
we
like
have
that.
A decision.
So Rudolph denied a try. He doesn't get too many. He got one in the final series last year. That was the only one he scored all season. Toby Rudolph.
Do you think Toby Rudolph improved as the season went? He was a late starter, Toby Rudolph, 24 when he made his debut in 2020. He's now 27.
Yep.
And I thought he got better as the season went on. He looked a bit light to start the season. I thought he carried a bit more weight towards the back end, and that helped him.
Here he is again, backing up straight away. With 19 minutes remaining in this first half. A try apiece. Pulu, lots of talking points out of the game so far. Graham with it. Hastings finished him off over the top. Johns did the work down low. Beryl on the spin. Williams pushed back by the Knights' defence. They dodged a bullet on the Rudolph one. Now Graham on the left. It's over the top for Rodwell. Here he goes again. Just a couple of metres away. Caught by Jack Johns. Cronulla really applying suppression now. Atkinson going side to side here. And well done by Lucas. Roddy caught with the ball. Last play, Cronulla. Kick will come from the young halfback, the former Panther. Puru's kick. He brings Hunt into the play and does well. Heimel Hunt with a little bump mid-air and a penalty for the Knights. There's another one on the comeback trail, just the one NRL game last year.
Yeah, had a shocking run of injuries, had a facial fracture, then did his knee. And you're right, Andrew, just one game from Hymel Hunt last year, landed awkwardly there. KL Iro coming through and making contact. So the Knights will get a penalty and...
Challenge from Cronulla
Maybe
on
not.
the decision of taking the Newcastle player out in the air. Not a genuine contest for the ball.
We're going to examine everything at this point. So we've had the drinks break. We've had a few captain's challenges. We're getting back in the groove here on Fox League. Every pre-season game covered. Means you get to see every captain's challenge.
Well,
it's probably...
Yeah. Actually, there was no touch from Iro, so... Thomas Rodwell goes up for the ball or tries
Just looking at Dylan Lucas.
Bit of the domino principle about all of this. One contacts another who contacts or...
Thomas Rodwell is contesting.
Well, I don't think any Cronulla player...
Dylan Lucas, however, takes the legs out of Hymel Hunt, which places him in a vulnerable position. The challenge is unsuccessful.
Are we getting our players mixed up?
We are a little,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Euro, not Dylan Lucas, but anyway, we'll get some decision out of it. It's good to have the lead back. We're all a bit rusty.
Could I have one last say on that incident? I don't think he touched him at all.
No. No. No, it could have been just there was no illegality in the play. But again, it's too early to get upset.
Okay,
and
let's move on.
Let's just go on with the play. James Hooper on the sideline.
Bit of a front row rotation from Sharks coach Craig Fitzgibbon. He's got new recruit Oregon Kafusi on, and also Tom Hazelton, Toby Rudolph and Braden Hamlin-Ueli get a breather. Hazelton, he's the man who Gavin Miller found in Goulburn-Vossi.
Yeah, this time last year, James, we called him scoring a try in the pre-season at Combank Stadium. Tom Hazelton, and we got to see him later in the year and make his first appearance in the NRL. Ball turned over by the Knights. Ben Talty will be disappointed with that first involvement, the number 19 for Newcastle. From a Musselbrook Ram out there for the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, when you're talking about players too injured and just concentrating on the Sharks, Jack Williams only played 6 games last year. Now, there's 2 front rowers that have retired with Fafita and Tolman. Kafusi and Williams will add some leg speed in the middle for the Cronulla Sharks pack this year.
So Cameron McInnes now in a ball-playing role there in 14 for Cronulla. He comes on as a middle forward, won't play dummy half. Here he is, McInnes, all over it. Peru's kick. Here comes Rodwell. The ball will beat them all over the dead ball line.
20.
But he's certainly been in the game. The Cronulla Sharks try scorer Tommy Rodwell. Sprinting back is Hunt. Yeah, Jack Williams, I see he can be as valuable to Cronulla as Scott Sorensen is at Penrith, really. He's that sort of build. A bit of speed too, Jack.
Very athletic.
Top straight out.
So let's hope there's another one. Let's hope the injury gods are kind. Newcastle in possession and Marju with it. Beryl defending the middle of the field. Hazelton, a little bit old school, really. The bald head and the big black tape around the forehead. Now Hastings and Gamble. Cronulla's defence all over that. 15 minutes remaining in this first game on this Friday night. Wasn't the best play of the ball by Gamble. Hastings again. Good to see him dig right into the line a number of occasions. Jackson Hastings. Crossland in a dummy half roll now for the Knights. Back with Hastings. The kick from 30 metres out. Atkinson is there. He lost his balance. I don't know about the bat on there. They've got a call of knock on in a number of areas there. No try in the corner to Hunt.
Then a knock on from Newcastle.
So, Casey Badger again all over that. Got to experience life at the Rugby League World Cup. When you talk about our players and their busy off seasons, the officials too. Casey was one of the Australian representatives of the officials at the World Cup, so great experience. Too worried about, well, he did well, but infringements were inside of that. Hymel Hunt. They tell me with the injury worries, he's got a big year. He's got a baby on the way with his partner. He's been studying a degree in building construction. So he's been a busy man as the Knights with it, and they're working his way as well. Hodgson just caught up there. 7 metres away from the line. Crossland, Gamble, and able to keep it alive 9 metres away from the line. Will be played by Toliafoa. Crossland and Hastings again. Gamble with the ball all the way on the outside. Maziu! Cronulla's defence does a great job there. Stone Street was there, Graham is there. So you're talking one player's played 277 NRL games, and Stone Street helping him yet to play an NRL match.
Yeah, just a little stutter there from Greg Maziu. Hard man to stop that far, or that close to the try line, but the Sharks doing a sensational job getting up underneath him.
So Cronulla back with the ball. A keenly contested pre-season game, this one. Albeit with some mistakes, not to be unexpected. And Cronulla back over the 20-metre line. Cameron McInnes gave them great service last year. His first year at the club. Played in 25 matches. Hazelton on this run. I hope Gavin Miller is watching. Another great ball playing forwards. Matty John's a huge fan of Gavin Miller. So too Joey. What a skillful player he was in identifying talent. Now Hodgson bringing it back for the Knights. Tex Hoy has gone to the Super League in the off-season. Would have been a contender for fullback, but he's moved on. Just speaking of the Super League, we get to see St Helens tomorrow night on Fox League down in Wollongong. The Saints versus the Saints. St George Illawarra versus St Helens, and St Helens preparing for the World Club Challenge against Penrith next week. You'll see on Fox League, ball put down there by Maziu. And Cronulla will come up with the ball 5 metres inside the Knights half.
Yeah, good defence there, Wade Graham. Up quickly, knows he's a danger, Greg Maziu, and just contact right on the ball, forcing it free. Great shot there from Wade Graham.
He's been into it, hasn't he? Wade, he is all over this game. And what a great experience for the younger players. They get to share the field with a bloke who's played for New South Wales, who's played for Australia, a grand final winner. To have that experience alongside you. For some of these young blokes, this is the biggest game of their life tonight.
Well, you said some of the young players, like Daniel Atkinson's only been at the club for a week. All of a sudden, he's on playing with the NRL players. And as, like you said, someone like Wade Graham, almost 300 games.
Seeing Samuel Healy out there for the first time in 20. He's a little taller than his dad, Mitch. Here he is, a dummy half. They've got a couple of dummy half options on the bench tonight. Good shot. Hunt went hunting and caught himself an hero. Cronulla, Puru, Hazelton. Oh, rampaging run there to the 10-metre line. Good stuff from the man from Goulburn. Now Healy again, McInnes, Puru, right side with Graham. He's only 5 metres away from the line. Bit more goal line defence for the Knights now. Ben Talty was in the tackle. Sharks working left. Puru's kick. Hodgson has been able to smother it for a line drop out for Newcastle. Their third of the match.
Yeah, whether it's been Wade Graham or Nephi Puru, the short kicking game from Cronulla has been spot on. Here's the shot from Heimel Hunt. KL Ero. And then Puru just drops it onto his foot, cleaned up well. Bailey Hodgson.
About the price of success at Penrith. The two halves in the Jersey Flegg Grand Final last year, Puru and Katoa. Katoa we'll see for the Dolphins this year. And Puru here at Cronulla. Can't get past Luai and Cleary. That's what happens. Now McInnes with the ball. 25 metres away from the Knights line. Healy takes off.
You've broken down play there.
Penalty blown by Casey Badger.
Yeah, could have let advantage go. Samuel Healy out of dummy half there.
9.5 minutes away from half-time. Chile had many great moments. Cronulla Sharks through and through, Mitch.
Well, he's part of a Cronulla era that was very strong. Mitch Healy.
Popping over a field goal too, Mitch. 5 minutes away from the line now, the Sharks. Rodwell, their lone try scorer, Graham Puru. Hero with it. Had them wrong-footed. He's just a few metres away from the line. Right in the corner, Puru now back with Graham. They'll steady it up for one. And the Knights too able to regroup their defensive line here. Shadows lengthening across the ground. Players thankful of that. Hazelton on the bounce. It's Gibbon at him low down. Gamble over the top. 5 tackles up for Cronulla. Puru decided to run. Nice flat pass. And the runner, Noeli Hiroji, scoring the try for Cronulla. Nicely constructed by the Sharks on the last.
Yeah, very impressive period here from Nephi Puru. Got the kick right to get the line, to force the line drop out. We'll just see the run of Ero almost getting himself. Great tackle breaking run there from Ero. Gets very close to the line. 2 plays later. Dummy kick here and pass. Dummy kick, just holds someone up, and you just see the reaction from the number 4 for Newcastle. Dylan Lucas came in, thought the kick was on, so he's done that exceptionally well. Nephi Puru was a very good junior player through the Harold Matthews, the SG ball, the jersey flag for the Panthers. Earned himself a development contract at the Sharks, and I think they'd be liking what they see from the number 7.
Yeah, we were impressed with the with the Warriors halves last night, and I think Cronulla fans are getting a nice takeaway from this young 7. And the reason he's starting, Braden Trindle was meant to be the starting halfback tonight, but got called up to the All-Stars, which you'll see right here on Fox League as part of our coverage tomorrow.
Well, Braden Trindle's shown just how good he is as a backup for Nico Hines. And Braden Trindle played a lot of first grade last year, even with Nico Hines in the side, so he's versatile.
Poodle. So great value out of the jersey flag. What is the under-21s, the grand final last year? Penrith played Newcastle. Penrith winning the title with Poodle and Katoa as their halves. And they're now at different clubs. That is not the best kick you're going to see this year, let me tell you. Let's go down to James on the sideline.
Well, how good is it to have the football back, Bossy? Rugby league, the greatest game of all. It never ever sleeps. And on Fox League, channel 502, we've got this game covered. It's a double header. We've got another game coming up afterwards. We'll see the Manly Seagulls with Ben Trebojevic, a new signing Cooper Johns, up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Anthony Seibolt's first outing as Manly's new head coach.
Well, actually, James, the weekend is one of our biggest of the year. The number of matches with the 2 All-Star games on, men's and women's, and to have St Helens here in the country is exciting, into a huge coverage on Sunday as well. And getting to see the Dolphins as part of the coverage on Sunday. There's so many storylines to follow over the weekend here on Fox League. There's Oregon Kaufusi on the run, played in the World Cup final. Got the thrill of playing at Old Trafford, Brandy, in the off-season. It was very good for an injury-ravaged Samoa. They had lots of problems and yet still made the decider for the first time. The Sharks on halfway, and McInnes off a very flat ball from Healy. Healy taking off. His work's being sharp. Graham's kick from 40 metres out. Left foot bomb to Hunt's wing. Rodwell ended up on his back.
Knock on.
Well, there you go. You get a knock on for your troubles. Spectacular.
Well, he got up there and just tried to push the ball backwards, but Casey Badgers ruled it forward. And I think she's spot on.
Good play. Didn't they have a good back line? Illawarra Steelers. They had Rodwell, and they have McGregor and Wishart. You know, David Riolo at fullback.
Very good.
Great times for the Illawarra Steelers.
Johnny Simon.
Knights with the ball. There's a fair bit to work with what we've seen so far tonight. Crossland on to Hodgson. And another 5 minutes to go in this first half before the coaches get their first earnest address with the players. Dave Hollis is out there now for the Knights. He took that run, former Eel. He may be the biggest player out there. He's very much Clemmer-like. the physique of David Hollis in 17 for Newcastle. Only been at the club for 2 weeks. As Gamble kicks to the corner, Atkinson has called for it and goes to ground quickly. Nice work from the Cronulla fullback. So Sharks off their own line, and Stone Street has had his moments in this first half. This was the take of Atkinson. Well, he's impressed. For a bloke who's only had limited time at the club, he's done a lot right here, Daniel Atkinson, and he's figured in attack as well. He's slotted in nicely from fullback. One of the positives of tonight for Cronulla. And now with Wilton. Little left foot step when he got to Brodie Jones there. Last play, Cronulla. Who always looked with authority about his game. Hodgson across there for Newcastle. And back he comes, and that's a bruising tackle that he runs into. Absolutely swamped by Kaufusi and Hazelton, and it's left a mark. It's taken a little bit of off-season wind out of the lungs. 3.5 to go, first half. You will see a multitude of players come into the game in the second half. In fact, half-time is an opportunity that some of the more experienced players, that might be it for the night. Put the cue on the rack and see some of the up-and-comers. So the night, short side play with Gamble. And then with Lucas.
Nearly got free there, Lucas.
25 minutes out, Crossland will run on the last. Crossland! And a try-saving tackle from Atkinson. That's a big play from the Cronulla fullback.
Yeah, quick play the ball there from Dylan Lucas, who almost broke through the Cronulla defence, and good play from Phoenix Crossland out of dummy half. Saw that there was some space in behind. Well, Daniel Atkinson certainly put his hand up, Andrew. You spoke about the fullback situation, Cade Dyke's injury, the trade with Lockie Miller. Will Kennedy's the number one, but they'll need another one through the season.
He played mostly centre for Italy at the World Cup, Daniel Atkinson. We didn't get to see him at fullback. Just the one game for Melbourne back in 2021, and then last year with the Sunshine Coast Falcons is where he plied his trade. As Cronulla get a penalty, 2 minutes remaining in the first half. He's actually come into the game. He's taking the kick-offs. He's taking the kicks for line. He's had quite a number of roles to play for someone so new to the club and not of a high profile. It's a fair amount of responsibility given to him by Craig Fitzgibbon. So Sharks with Graham, and here is Hazelton. Looks like he's benefiting from a big off-season. And here is Graham trying to work numbers on the right-hand side, but Gamble is there with Lucas. But Newcastle will need to defend their line coming up to half-time. As Healy brings them across with Kaufusi, not able to pass. Wilton calling for it on the left. Healy takes him close to the post. Hazelton, just like the pre-season last year.
He's got it on the line.
He's got it on the line. He's got to try. He's a pre-season try-scoring specialist. Thomas, Hazelton, and Goulburn erupts.
One game last year for the in the NRL, Thomas Hazelton, and I've spoken to a couple of Cronulla people, and they think he'll play a lot more this year. He's been impressive since he's been on the field. Big body, can get going, and crashes himself through the defence to grab a try.
You'd swear you were looking at like a David Barnhill-like with the bald head, the headband, and there he is. Casey Badger saw him get it to the line. Had 21 minutes in the NRL last year, that debut against the Roosters, but 21 was enough just to get a taste of it. And many times named in the squad of 21 during the week, and here's the benefit of what's happened 12 months on. He's now potentially part of their 17.
Well, we spoke about how many front rowers you need. You need 6 NRL front rowers because you play 4 every week. You need another 2 that are either playing New South Wales Cup or Jersey Flag that you can call upon through a season. And Thomas Hazelton, after the retirement of both Aidan Tolman and Andrew Fafita, looks like he's putting his hand up to be one of those 6.
As the story goes about Tom, he was actually a soccer player that got into rugby league when his sister Ellie started playing. So she started playing with him too. Ellie was a basketballer, but the brother and sister rivalry came to the fore playing rugby league. Here he is on Fox League now. It's quite a story, Thomas Hazelton. So 3 tries to 1 for Cronulla in the opening 40 minutes here in Gosford on a warm Friday night on Fox League. Half-time, it's Cronulla 16, leading Newcastle 4. Damn. So second half is underway for the Newcastle Knights off the boot of David Armstrong, who's out there playing fullback now. He may well be one of the quickest players out there. Watch out for him. Number 21 for the Knights. Cronulla in possession, 3 tries, 16 points to 4. And now Cameron McInnes for Cronulla. Cronulla's first game of the season will be our first feature game on Super Saturday, March 4. They will play South Sydney. And as we mentioned in the first half, the Knights coming up on the first Friday night of the season against the Warriors in Wellington. How good is it to have rugby league back in New Zealand? As Armstrong takes the run back, let's go down to the sideline. James Hooper.
Good news for the Newcastle Knights. Young gun Bailey Hodgson has passed that HIA, so we expect him to return to the field of play. A wretched run with injuries the last couple of years. Vossi, an elbow and also a knee, but he showed some good signs earlier.
You can get a highlights reel out of it, of his good moments. Newcastle in possession, but they tell me this fella Armstrong can run, 21 years of age. And he's out there tonight wearing the jumper 21, so let's hope he finds a bit of open pasture. He's Hodgson back on the field now, but Armstrong will stay out there for Newcastle. They took Lucas off the field, the centre, as the kick comes from Crossland. Hanging in the breeze there and fielded by Atkinson for Cronulla. William Kennedy, the number 1 choice fullback for the Sharks, not here tonight. And the Sharks just outside their 30-metre zone, and with the ball is Colquhoun, on the back of playing 4 NRL matches last year, in the starting side tonight. Offload there, Healy in support, and the Sharks with an attack. Ero's had some moments tonight. Double fend from the Sharks centre there.
That was a good offload from Oregon Kafusi that kept that play going there.
Playing in the centres, he's a pretty good fullback as well. Graham extends out the right side, and Colquhoun caught there. 5 tackles up Cronulla. Atkinson got to dummy half. Graham's left foot bomb. He was hit after kicking by Tom Cantz. Hodgson ends up with the ball, and back to the 20. They come, the Knights. What about that? We get to see another young talent, Tom Cant, out there in jumper 20 for the Knights, their Jersey Fleet captain from last year. His first involvement, yeah, and he puts a shot on Wade Graham, puts him on his back. No respect. Knights with the ball on their 20-metre line. Nice bit of ball play there. Saifiti to halfway. A few more minutes out of the big twins for the Knights. Well, seems like they've gone back to a pretty straightforward game plan here, as Kurt Mann got them going down the right side. Kept alive over the head of one Saifiti, then through the legs of another.
That's a tough ask. Floating ball out to a front rower standing still, but he pushed it backwards. The Knights keep it.
This time with Clune, who's on and put down. Cronulla can't go into attack.
Well, Thomas Cant, who's just onto the field, was in some space there. Adam Clune, nice job, threw the ball across the face of the inside player. Drags in just enough there, Hiroti, and then Thomas Cant just puts the ball down.
What about it? You would have been dreaming all week how things are going to pan out, and then the big moment.
That's one of those moments,
yeah.
Into a bit of space. Halfback does the job for you on the inside. You just have to hit the hole.
A lot of players over the years can say their first involvement was a drop ball. It does happen. And have gone on to be fantastic players. Cronulla with the ball just outside their 30-metre line. Healy has looked really good at dummy half for Cronulla. They've also got a young fella, Kobe Wilson, who may get some football later, number 26. He's a dummy half as well on the bench tonight. But Healy's out there at the moment after Beryl started the match. Puru pushing left. And Chris Vaiella did enough in defence, a young Kiwi there. Defending for the Knights on the right side. McInnes with it.
Yeah, McInnes had the defence on him. And it was both the Saifidi brothers. Puru with the kick.
A very accomplished display by the Cronulla halfback tonight. Ball fielded there by Pietzner. Another one out of that Jersey Flegg Grand Final last year. The under-21s played for the Knights. See what they've got at a higher level. And ball comes loose in that tackle. Boy, oh boy, he's had a night, hasn't he, Bailey Hodgson? Like, seriously. He'd be going... Well, he's due another big moment, actually. It has been a scrambled egg of a match for him.
He's done some very good things, then come up with a couple of errors just to take the gloss off it.
Nephew of Josh, who is now a Parramatta Eel. One of the most circulated photos in the off-season was the biceps on Josh Hodgson on social media. Boy, oh boy, has he worked out. As now Rodwell's with the ball.
Well, Bailey's a hull boy.
A bit of time there myself in the off-season. Not a bad fish and chips. Cronulla with the ball. 15 metres away from the Knights line. I'd go as far as saying the best in the world. Fish and chips out of Hull. Puru with it. Our beautiful hands from Graham. Played first grade as a 17-year-old, Wade did. Now 16th season. Puru, Hazelton, 10 metres from the Knights line. Healy, big line set to the left. Puru's passed it and find the mark. Atkinson on the bounce, and kicks, and chases.
Days ago.
Yeah.
They've thrown him in at fullback and he has been one of the stars tonight.
Yeah, realistically, he's had, what, 2-3 training sessions with them. And that's all he's been able to have. And over to Puru with a kick, and the scoreline gets big for the Sharks. Into the 20s they go. James Hooper on the sideline.
Randy's spot on. Dan Atkinson, that man on screen now, he actually prefers playing in the halves, but he gets his opportunity tonight because there's no William Kennedy, there's no Cade Dykes. He is from the Storm system. He played for the Sunshine Coast Falcons last year. He was Brisbane born, and he is stating a hell of a case tonight.
I can remember a game in the World Cup. See, at the World Cup, Nathan Brown was the focal point of the Italian side with all the experience. There was a game, I think they only had 3 players with NRL experience, and Atkinson was one of them, and he had played only the one game. But it was enough to say that he was of NRL experience. And that ball sets up and bounce back for Saifidi. That's a handy one to have in the kick bag, a kick-off like that. And the Knights have the ball back.
Well, that's a horrible error from the Sharks. You've got to get the ball on the full. It did land in no man's land, but someone needed to catch that. You tempt fate with the ball able to bounce as it did back to the Saifidi brothers.
So No Gamble or Hastings in the second half. The halves combination is now Crossland and Clune for Newcastle. And wide ball there for Armstrong, but alert to it was Stone Street. There's a bit of football in Samuel Stone Street. I think he's got a bit of first grade in him this year. Knights are with it with Talty. Lovely flick around the corner. Crossland knocked it on. Well, that was Fancy Dan play for February. Pass like that. Manly v South is our second match on the Friday night. Rugby League's nicest man, Jake Trebojevic, is in the house. So is Tom, back from the US of A. Went to the Manly Centre of Excellence we've been filming for the Fan on Fox League this year. Boy, there's some... I know they all come back fitter or stronger, but what I saw at Josh Schuster, ready for a big year. Jason Saab has built up. Like, he's speed, but he's put on a bit of muscle. You know, you see these players pre-season and you hope that, you know, he can convert. Manly lost a bit of faith in him last year, but if Trebojevic gets fit and Schuster nails it at 6, get excited. New coach, Anthony Seabold.
I think the club's happy. I think it's a happy club.
So from the scrum, the Newcastle Knights. You get to see Manly later tonight here, exclusive to Fox League, against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Switch of play here. Clune for Saifidi. Daniel held up there. So they've had enough chances. You'd like to think they've got more than one try on the board, Newcastle, tonight. At 22-4, 10.5 into the second half. Oh dear, that's a breakdown. They'll pull their hands away. 2 withdrew from catching that one. Ball with Kurt Mann. Clune there for Crossland. And again, the Cronulla defence is good. He is a standout. The Italian international. The ball has been knocked down. Knights get it, but a knock on.
Just a little knock on there where they had 6 to go coming. Adam Clune just not able to get on it cleanly.
18 games last year in his first year with the Knights. Adam Clune, the former St George Illawarra Dragon.
Well, you spoke about their start of the season, and it was Clifford and Clune who looked so good at 2 wins. They beat the Roosters, they beat the Tigers. And then they had a number of players. Crossland played in the halves, Tex Hoy, Anthony Milford, when he came there, spent the rest of the season at 5'8". So they chopped and changed between those 5 players all season. They'll start 2023 with new halves.
It's a massive change in the guard, isn't it, when you put it like that? Milford, Clune, Clifford. Hazelton barges his way through the front line. Tommy Boy, 5 minutes short of halfway. Atkinson now playing in the halves. Oh, there's a tackle in summer. That's our man Cant.
Thomas Cant.
He can. Williams tackled 35 minutes out. Now the chip over the top from Hiroti. It's fielded at the back by Hodgson. Newcastle back with the ball. 13 metres away from their own line. And the Knights with Bietzner. Now you be the judge at home too on tackles. I mean, as I said, you don't get upset at this time of the year. What did you make of this tackle, Brandy? Okay, all good?
That's all good. Ended up all right, Andrew, but it could have easily been a penalty. And you wouldn't have argued about that.
No. Oh, now a double play. It's come off Hazelton. It's come off a Knights.
Hold on 1 sec.
Well, if it's billiards, it's a great shot. But we're playing rugby league.
Kick the ball, it's hit a teammate in front. Right, who was just talking to me?
This is the double ricochet here. Bang, bang. Oh, no, it's a triple. It's a triple. See, we miss rugby league in the off-season. You just don't see that in the other sports.
Where did you want the scrum?
Clune on report.
You can't. It's going to be on the side.
It's all happening.
Over here? All right, scrum on the 20.
Good thing Casey Badger's all over it. He's the only one who knows what's going on at the moment, to be honest. Ball shifted across closer to the sideline on the 40-metre line. Cronulla will come up with the scrum feed. Because the first play was the accidental offside, kicking into a player in front of you. So that's the very first infringement. Atkinson offloading, and he is playing quite the role now. They're 30 metres away from the Knights line, and this time with Colquhoun, the Sharks building to potentially their 5th try of the Knights. Jacob Gagan is out there in 21. Not just the young blokes looking to make a mark. Gagan now 29, looking for another NRL start. With the halfback Puru, just a little switch inside. Play it. Hamlin-Welle. The Sharks only 10 metres away from the line. Puru. Knights moved up quickly. Managed to get the job done in defence. Last play, Cronulla. Little stab at the upright padding. Goes just a little too far over the dead ball line.
But last tackle, I have no try. Can we confirm that there's no interference from Newcastle pushing the Cronulla player?
Ooh, okay.
There might have been. Under pressure, Nephi
Penalty chaser
Puru
onside.
gets a kick in. His short kicking game's been very good tonight. It looked too heavy
Atkinson.
when he made contact with it. No, I don't think
Contest for the ball.
I don't think it was impeded.
Just making sure Daniel does not touch the ball and restart a play here.
Yeah, that's right. It's got to touch it. Does he touch it before it touches the ground? Oh, it's over the top. No.
The ball goes dead. We have a decision.
Half his shorts are off. He's appealing. It's a bit happening in the life of Daniel Atkinson there. He's certainly a man close to the ball at the moment, even more so now playing in the halves. Hiroti has moved to fullback for Cronulla. They have Gagan playing out at right centre. Knights are back with the ball. And with the dreadlocks, Toliafoa close to the play there.
Good contact there. Jack Williams over the top.
This time last year, we got to see Leo Thompson, didn't we, make an impression early season. He goes on to be a valuable contributor to Newcastle's efforts last year.
Tackle, Daniel.
I think they're sort of hoping the same for someone like Toliafoa to come through. They need the depth. Toliafoa, they call him the J-Bell. Here's Jones. It was the tackle off the ball was the penalty. After passing. So Newcastle into the Cronulla half, and Ben Talty on the run, but driven back by the Cronulla defence on play one. Williams doing the driving there. Ball with Fitzgibbon. 31 metres away from the Cronulla line. Hamlin-Welle and Williams, bit of a wrestle. Now to the right with Clune, keeping it alive. Same done by Ryan Rivett, who's out there for the Knights. This time last year playing for Cronulla. He's in the 24 for Newcastle. Let's see how sharp he can be in a playmaking role. Short pass there for Hollis. Caught in the tackle of Williams. Quick play the ball, and Mann was able to get it along. They're only 8 metres away from the Cronulla line. Last tackle. Need a result from this play. And the kick will come from Rivett. It's there. It's taken dead.
You're offside, mate.
And in fact, offside, interfering with play, and no line dropout. It becomes penalty Cronulla.
Just didn't time the run properly. It was a nice kick. Straightened things up. Good angle on the kick. Just too eager on the chase. Oren Keeley. Oren Keeley did have a first-grade game last year. He's called in late. Was there an injury to Tyson Brazil?
Yeah, got a start. That was round 23 against the Raiders. Yeah, 20 years of age. So Cronulla back with the ball. That ended up quite a let-off for Cronulla there. No build-up of pressure of Newcastle. Possession stats are 52% of the ball for the Knights, but they have only the one try. 4 line breaks to 2 at the moment for Cronulla in the match. Not too many offloads from either side tonight. And overall, as Brandy highlighted earlier, 26-29, the completion rate from Cronulla, 90% in a pre-season trial as opposed to Newcastle's 52%.
Unheard of, 90% ball control. They've completed double the amounts of sets that Newcastle have.
Another drinks break coming up shortly at the halfway mark of this second stanza. The Sharks with the ball 20 metres away from the Knights line. Top two side from last year, the Cronulla Sharks. Puru with a kick. And, well, there's the Knight of the fullback for the Knights.
Fearless.
He's come up with a good moment there. That's one of his diamonds. And he's got one in the noggin.
No, he's got a cramp.
Just move it 5 metres in, guys.
Well, I'm no doctor. I diagnose a little head problem, but not to worry. There we go.
See the leg up in the air. It's early days.
That's it. I took his appendix out when he had tonsillitis. So the Knights are with the ball 10 metres away from their own line. They're still treating him for cramp. There's two of them working on Bailey Hodgson. They might have to lop the leg off. It's that bad. Knights are with it. But still 22 points to 4. Cooling down as we're now completely in shade across an immaculate surface, as it always here in Gosford. Hodgson, that might be it for the night. For Bailey, that diamond turned into be a fake.
Forward!
Forward. Corner forward.
Yeah, I think the touchy got that one. Right in line with us.
A little bit of zest has gone out of the Knights' play with change of halves and playmaker and dummy half, fullback. It's very much disjointed now for the Knights. So Cronulla with the ball. 32 metres away from the line. What's more for Hodgson, they treat him for the cramp. He's now going to get from the other side of the ground. They leave him, the trainers, and he's now just got to do his best to get back to the bench, walk it off. Hamlin Welle. That cry forward from some of the Knights for now. Short ball, Knights have got it back. Game's lost its way a little in the last 4 or 5 minutes. That was for now involved in the play. He's a big lump of a lad, the number 15 for Cronulla. Another one of the Engadine juniors. There's terrific junior clubs across Cronulla. That time the ball's been stolen. Cronulla are with it. I think both coaches want the last 5 minutes erased from the tape, to be perfectly frank. As a Beryl able to offload to Puru. Craig Fitzgibbon has clicked record again now because they're only 5 metres away from the Knights line. Hazelton, one off the ruck, held by Mann, tackled by Talty. Beryl now to the left. And the Knights defence, all hands on deck here. Drinks break, you would suspect, at the end of this set. It may be a point scoring play though for Cronulla. Hazelton chasing a double. Beryl now throws back deep to Puru, throws it inside. It was right on the line, the pass. Last play, Cronulla. Beryl, he'll have a little crack himself. He loses the ball, he laid an egg. And we'll have a drinks break. On the end of that, Cronulla have an error. Hasn't been too many. He's well inked, the Cronulla hooker. Let's go down to James Hooper on ground in this drinks break in the second half for the Sharks and the Knights.
Yeah, thanks, Vossi. I've got the Cronulla hooker, Blake Brayley, alongside me. Blake, you'd have to be happy with what we've seen from the Sharkies so far this evening.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the points are nice, but I think keeping them to 4 is obviously our goal. We're going to be a big defensive club this year, and it's a step in the right direction. What about yourself? Do we see you next weekend? You got a trial at Belmore Oval. Will we see you there? Yeah, I'll be running out next week. Coming here, not playing, it was a bit of a weird feeling. Watching the boys play, and I'll be itching out to get there, and yeah, I'll be out there next week. Mate, the form of the young fullback, Dan Atkinson, is that right? He's only been part of the club for a couple of weeks? Yeah, probably about two and a half weeks now. And the first day he came, he killed it at training. You can see that chip and chase. He does that every day at training. So he's one to watch. And yeah, he's been going really well today. And what about your coach, Craig Fitzgibbon? He'd have to be happy. First hit out of the year, it's a trial game, 28-degree heat. You're completing it over 90%. Yeah, that's obviously a big focus for us going to next year. You know, we need to complete well to win games. And yeah, I think through training we've been showing that, and you know, today's no fluke. We've been playing pretty well, and hopefully continue that next week and into round 1. What's been the best thing about the pre-season? That it's over. Obviously just working hard. We had a good camp together, and I feel like we're a lot stronger group this year, and You know, we obviously want to go one better than last year. So yeah, it's exciting times, and I think we've got a good squad putting together.
Blake, we appreciate your time and best of luck for a big season.
Thank you very much.
And our next game is Manly v South Sydney here in Gosford. There's Brett Stewart at the rear of shot. What a player he was, involved, very much hands-on at Manly. So looking forward to seeing the Seagulls take on the Rabbitohs. James mentioned off to Belmore next week as part of our coverage too. Love that. Love that. Gee, I'm going to quote the Castle here, but the vibe at Canterbury in the streets about what's coming up for them. And if we may, good luck to Josh Reynolds back, and he's playing in the blue and white this weekend. You will see on Fox League. But to get back to Belmore, don't mind that. The trains will be going past and slowing down to watch the play.
One of the more memorable club games when Josh Reynolds was moving on at Belmore Oval, when they stood up, the whole grandstand stood up and gave him a standing ovation.
Charged down, and the Knights got it back. Beryl, he's almost out on his feet, but he chased hard there. He was the charge down. Trying his best, charged it down. The kick from Ryan Rivett, and couldn't quite get it back. Ball is with Tupanua. And yes, he is Satili's brother, and he's got the long hair. Satili will miss the start of the season on the back of that knee reconstruction last year. It's a few sideline for the Roosters. ...40 metres away from the line in the last tackle. And the kick from Clune on the run. Back, with the ball for Cronulla. So Knights completion rate right at the moment sitting at 50%. Missed tackle count, they're high up there, 25 to 15. Few things to work on in some of the basics, if you will. 4 tries to 1 and the 22 to 4 scoreline. Next week's trial action will see the Knights play the Eels on Friday back here at Gosford. And as James alluded to, the Sharks and the Bulldogs on Sunday week at Belmore Sports Ground. He's kicking from halfway.
That's a good kick. That was Atkinson too. Daniel Atkinson, as you said, Bossie's moved into the halves now.
Confident kick return from David Armstrong. He's played the ball, was almost too quick for his teammates. Knights with the ball, and Lucas. I must say, you'd have to, an observation of the Knights function better with Hastings and Gamble than how things are unfolding now. We've now got Riley Jones out there, the entrance Tigers Jr. as their dummy half. He's wearing number 23. Here he is, getting them rolling down the right side. The kick from Rivett. Another high ball, and they don't get a result. Cronulla are with it. The roadie comes straight back at them. Through the front door he goes. Into the Knights half. Clean line break for the Sharks. And straight away on the front foot. Rodwell into the play. Good follow-up run.
Bossy, that was line break number 5 for the Sharks. The bonus point has already been awarded.
It's great to watch a professional with pen and paper keeping the numbers on the bonus point system. He's all over it, Brandy.
Our stats team are very good.
It's a throwback to his 9 years of maths in high school. As the Knights are with it now after a turnover 18 metres out from their own line.
Budding account.
As if Knights just outside their 20. Just the 6 wins last year. Cronulla too, and it was highlighted by Blake Brayley talking about the defence. I mean, they were so good for the regular season last year, but you can't avoid the fact when the finals came around, the big matches, Brent, 70 points conceded in 2 weeks.
Yeah, more than 40. I think more than 40 missed tackles against the Bunnies in that loss, and they probably saved their worst game of the season for that final one. And had the Cowboys on toast.
Yeah,
lost in the last few minutes.
But you know, there has to be an explanation for it. You concede on average less than 16 points a game all season. You get to the finals and you concede an average of 35 points a game. I mean, that's got to have some sort of review. Crossland, hurdle to defend there. Another chance for the Knights inside the Sharks 20. And then it's put down that time. Cooper lost the ball. A rookie left side. Rabbitohs doing a bit of warming up out the back here. Very close to the Manly players. Very close to the ice cream stand too. You could pick, that'd be a shock, wouldn't it? The players come out, Dagwood dog and a choc top. But it's still a great facility. And for those who don't know the area, the train line is right here. I mean, it's such an easily accessible ground for the fans to get to and from. Another penalty going the way of Cronulla. Been a fair tally. In fact, that's the 14th penalty of the night. There's been only the one set restart and 14 penalties this evening. South Sydney, we talked about Manly, some promise. South Sydney, any thoughts on the Rabbitohs? Jason Demetrio, it was a pretty big year in his first year as the top coach there at South Sydney. What expectations? What have you got them?
Oh, I think Souths are going to have a good year. I really do. Good forward pack. Latrell, if Latrell plays the full season, Souths will be in the mix at the top of the table.
Here's another observation from training. Lachlan Ilias, season under his belt, played for Greece at the World Cup, another experience.
And again, a player that improved as the season went on. So, Andrew, you can only imagine him getting better. And that would be another reason why you think Souths will be in for a good year.
Sharks into the Knights half again. Putting some real pressure on the Knights defence now that they've got all these youngsters out there. And they're finding themselves under constant pressure. Iro dumped the ball back, or more or less rolled it back there. He's got the Shark socks down and the compression socks up. The Sharks left centre. Roti caught up that time. Last play, Cronulla. Puru, again, as a talking point from tonight. It's been a very accomplished display by the former Panther, who is yet to play NRL, but he's been very good, the number 7 for Cronulla. He's had control about his game. And putting in some good minutes for the Sharks. So more changes are being made, although this time it's getting a little bit of experience back out there. Johns has gone back into the game, so too is Brody Jones for the Knights. Not a bad thing to have a bit of that experience out there, and this time Tupanua's lost the ball. So Cooper Johns is out the back, about to play for Manly for the first time, and his brother Jack is out here for Newcastle. So Johns-a-thon tonight. He was bouncing around the place at training.
He's back.
Cooper, he's a great character.
Back at home.
Feature on the Fan this year on Fox League. We had a colourful interview with Cooper. Played the word association game with him, and we asked him, what's the first word that comes to mind when I say Matthew Johns? What's 2 words? But yeah, he's very entertaining. Now Clune with the ball, and we asked him then, what's the first word that comes to mind when we say Andrew Johns to you? That was an interesting answer as well. Knights with Tupanua. All the shows coming back on air shortly. NRL 360 ready for another big year.
He's had a couple of spills. Last 2 touches of the ball. That one, his head's hit the ground pretty hard there. On the 20. Tony Tupanua.
Taking him out of Ron Massey Cup for an opportunity here. So that's the 3rd tier for those who don't follow Rugby League in New South Wales. So, no, not his best there. Just a little hold up in play with the trainer out there.
Cats, he's got to go high tie.
Well, there you go, saying off the HIA.
Yeah,
that's
22, yeah, you've got to go
that's going to make his night even more disappointing. You don't get to make up for the lost ball. That's a disappointment for Tony Tupanua. And that'll send Lachlan Fitzgibbon back into the game. But I think that's fair enough. It was pretty heavy contact with the turf here. Straight onto it. Manly South. So what was the? There has to be an investigation game. Was that a Manly South game? F2. Someone will let us know. Just a flashback when you talk about South and Manly history here. Might have been the game where we needed an investigation. Sharks with the ball on halfway now. Another turnover from Newcastle, and I know it's a trial, but gee, you don't want completion rate under 50%. I mean, you're getting down into pretty poor territory here for the Knights.
You certainly expect some errors, but there's been too many, and too many soft ones too.
18 errors from Newcastle tonight now. Cronulla with the ball, and another chance for points for them. Mania Wateri is out there now for them. They're under 19 players from last year in the SG ball. Little stab, set up nicely though for the Knights, and the quick fella Dave Armstrong is onto it. He looks like he could be a whippet, sort of an elusive customer. He's got some moves.
He changes direction pretty quickly and can do it multiple times over a short space.
That run with Cant coming into centre field, back to the 20-metre line for the Knights. So we get down into the last 10 minutes of this one. Reminder, tomorrow, live from 1 p.m, Fox League's coverage of the All-Stars begins. So both women's and men's right here on Fox League. And also tomorrow night from Wollongong, you get to see St Helens play. They will have their full squad of 26 on show against the St George Illawarra Dragons. You get to see the likes of Lomax and Percival and Osby play. Sione Matauti is playing for St Helens tomorrow night, the former Knight.
Curtis Sirinen.
Curtis Sirinen. Conrad Hurrell's part of the squad. I saw Connie became a dad just a few weeks ago. Well done.
Take it back, you rolled over him.
It's been strong, KL Ero. Powerful runner.
Ready for more first grade. This year, one would think. Cronulla with Blake Hosking now. Yet another of the local juniors on show for Cronulla. This time with Lachlan Crouch. They're 10 metres inside the Knights' half. It's a bomb that is well placed by Waiteri, but well handled by Pietzner there for the Knights. And Newcastle are back with the ball. So they need to complete this set or go under 50%. Don't want to death ride them. It's just a number. They are with the ball just outside their 30-metre line, the Knights. And, Brodie Jones takes the run. Down the track, though, you're going to see the likes of Kalen Ponga and Adam Elliott, Jack Hetherington, Dane Gagai, Tyson Frizzell. They're all to come back. The Knights have got some open pasture. Tolti with it. Back for Crossland. And the Knights have their second try. Phoenix Crossland is the try scorer. It has come out of the blue from the Newcastle Knights. It's a good moment for them. Good try.
It was a good moment for Adam Clune as well. And this is the sort of play that Clune showed early in the season last year, where he's got the ability to go to the line and put players into space. Held the ball up beautifully there for Tolti. Phoenix Crossland pushing up on the inside, and the Knights finally come up with their second try, but very clever here from Adam Clune. Just held it up to put Tolti in space. Wondering where he was going, looked on the inside. Phoenix Crossland, the recipient of the pass, and good stuff there.
It's a really good try.
It is a really good try, and Adam Clune's a clever player. He's not a first-grade starting halfback, but he's a very good backup.
And I think Penrith showed that last year, the backup half. You know, Sean O'Sullivan played a pretty important role in a premiership winning year for Penrith. Well, you need backup everywhere.
Well, you do, and we're only talking about Braden Trindle and what he did at the Sharks. Even though Nico Hines as the kick is successful, Trindle played a part without starting at halfback, but when Nico Hines wasn't there, Trindle did the job.
Let's go down to the sideline, James Hooper. Get back to James in just a moment. The Knights, the fact that they've put together that play with 7 minutes to go is really good. Fatigued and disjointed play with so many new faces out there, but Clune, Crossland, Talty, a new face, has done exactly what he had to do. It's a very good try to score. Ben Trebojevic among those on show in the next game for Manly. As Fitzgibbon will bring it back. Knights feeling a little better about things, having got their second try. They've been well apart, the 2 tries they have scored. It's not for lack of opportunity. They've had 24 tackles inside the Sharks' 20 tonight. And 4 tries to 2. Brandy will work out the bonus points for us shortly, if that does anything at all. It's a big job, Brandy. You're in charge of a lot the weekend. So Newcastle again. Talty is having a golden period here. He got through the front line. Probably professional foul. Quick tap taken by Rivette. And the Knights, they've come alive. They've come out of hibernation. And then the ball is turned over. Short-lived excitement. And Cronulla are back with it. But Ben Talty with 2 breaks in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, the first one where he was put through the space. This one, he just burst through it. Talty, very stocky. Bit of footwork back on the inside of the Sharks defender. And earns the penalty. They come up with an error.
There you go. That's what we see here on Fox League. You got the little black book out and you're writing down the name of Ben Talty now. T-A-L-T-Y. You've seen him make a couple of breaks there. Big moment. And Cronulla have an error.
Out on the 20, guys. Clock is on.
You said in the pre-game too, we get to see St Helens tomorrow night. It's great that they have the warm-up game of that calibre against the Dragons tomorrow night. Penrith, the blokes came back a week early so they could play.
Once the game was set in concrete, I think they all went, well, we're serious. We're fair dinkum. The senior players came back so they could qualify for it, Andrew, and it is great to be here. The World Club Challenge, not since 2014 have we had it out here in Australia, and up against the likes of Lomax and Wellesby. Great tackle there. Atkinson. Daniel Atkinson's had some sort of game here tonight. It was a try saver in the first half on his own line. And he's been very impressive in all aspects.
Knights have got their first set restarted. The Knights with just 4 minutes remaining in this one. So they've had their first hit out. Jones is put onto his back. Knights looking to finish strongly. Crossland, Fitzgibbon and Clune. They're putting some football together here, Newcastle. 20 metres away from the Cronulla line. And now back right side, Rivette. John's late offload. On the bounce. With it is Riley Jones. Riley Jones almost to the line. Is there a dummy half right on the Sharks line. Some of these new faces. One of them could be on the score sheet in a moment. Clune's kicked over the top. Going back though, cool work done by Samuel Stonestreet.
Well, he's shown some ability to offload the ball, Jack Johns. That was a great offload to keep things going. They almost scored a try off the back of it, and then Clune's kick. Well, they don't come up with points, but they'll get it back. Under 3 minutes to go, so let's see if the Knights can grab a try to finish the game.
Drop out with Atkinson in shape to go short. He goes long. Again, Stonestreet just done what a good player can do, and he's had a few moments. The right winger for Cronulla, he's been given the whole game. I think he's one to write down as well. Another local junior. Luke Cavell is his favourite player. Samuel Stonestreet. You know, all the great Sharks and ET and the likes, and Cavell got #1, which is no dramas at all. Terrific player. Kiwi international. Newcastle 10 metres away from the line. High ball there, across with Rivette. And Crossland takes the hit. Clune has kicked. He's got it right out of the wing, right into the breadbasket of Luke Pietzner to score the try. There's a fresh young face scoring in the Knights jersey. Big, tall winger. Nice moment for the kid.
Yeah, and they've been able to get through some sets. They've been able to control the ball. They've earned themselves a line dropout. But Adam Clune has shown he's a very smart player. Whether it's a pass or a kick, he held it up beautifully for Talty. in the previous try. That one, the kick on the spot there for Pietzner to grab a late one for Newcastle. So they've finished with a flourish, Andrew, the Newcastle Knights. They finally controlled the footy. Makes a difference.
Yeah. They're finishing strong. They've got something to take into next week. Now, I mentioned, you know, we've been talking a lot about completion rate, whatever. I mean, Cronulla have had 35 tackles inside the Knights' 20 tonight. So, you know, Adam O'Brien will look at their goal line defence, and defence is a huge issue for Newcastle right across last season. So there's enough to take out of tonight and work on. It is first hit out of the season. And to finish strong is certainly a positive. Knights coaching box right beside where we're calling from. Now they're kicking it over from the sideline. Brandy's going to the bonus point. Can we stop the clock, score in the last 20 seconds and have a draw? Converted try.
Well, you know what? The Knights have got a bonus point.
There you go. So they're ahead of the Tigers on the ladder.
In the wash-up, I don't know what that'll mean.
Yeah. But if they were to score here and produce the draw...
Well, 6 points here. 6 points for a draw.
Well, I can tell you that Adam O'Brien has actually left the coach's box. He's already going downstairs. So if they do come up with a miracle try, he won't see it live. So he's ready to be in and talk to the troops straight away. So the Knights are with the ball. They may as well have a crack. Final 10 seconds of their first hit out. And you'll see them again next week on Fox League. Knights against the Eels on Friday night. Sharks against the Bulldogs on Sunday week. Chip over the top. Wasn't able to be regathered. Atkinson has come up with it. He chips at training. He chips in the match. And he provides the last play of the game. Fennells has gone over for the try. There's no check. James Hooper will have to come up with some money out of his own kick to give Daniel Atkinson the man of the match. He's had quite a game, and there's a bonus point if I'll cut your grass, Brandy. Well, they got their 5th try.
They did. So bonus point, another bonus point to the Sharks here as Daniel Atkinson picks the ball up after the Sharks. They tried for their own miracle, but it was Cronulla that got theirs. The chip was perfect.
Oh. Yeah, yep. This stage, well, it is bonus point. They have to treat it seriously if he dropped it.
Did you think it snuck out of his arm just as he hit the ground?
Worth inspection.
Joshua Fennell grabbing the try.
Got a bit of size about him too, hasn't he? Out.
Hang on.
No. Oh, no. Oh, they're locking it in. They're locking it in. Try confirmed. Oh, try confirmed for a bonus point.
Yeah.
What about that? The James Hooper man of the match.
Could be handy. Is that what we're calling it?
They'd be lucky to get a Razoo.
Daniel Atkinson.
He's had a night.
Game.
He's had a night. One of Italy's finest. Starring for Cronulla. And he's had the last say on the game. And he is one of the stories tonight. Newcomer to the Sharks. Stars in their first hit out. And Cronulla have accounted for the Newcastle Knights. So full time in our first game on this Friday night. Cronulla 28, Newcastle 16.